So I want to try something a little different here. Yesterday we had the Nintendo Direct. I did a live reaction stream for it. I had a lot of fun. I'm sure the people in the Twitch chat had a lot of fun. Here's the thing though. For anybody who has already seen the Direct and has simply come to my reaction video to see my reaction, I am not very reactionary. Not compared to some other reaction videos out there. Past few directs I felt like, I don't know, it almost wasn't worth uploading a reaction video. So I want to try something here a little bit different. I want to give my thoughts on the direct, because I definitely have a lot of thoughts, especially after having a little bit of time to think about the direct and also see some other reactions to it. So let me go ahead and try this. First off, the Monster Hunter DLC, the expansion pack, whatever it's going to be. First off, they didn't really show very much of it, did they? Just this dragon here, but we already know about this dragon. It's like the most famous dragon in Monster Hunter. But I'm definitely curious to see what it is like. Although I don't actually have Monster Hunter Rise yet. I would love to play the game someday, but I tried the demo out and I rather sucked at it. I'm not used to playing action-y RPGs. I'm used to playing turn-based RPGs and platformers. You know, games that don't really have a lot of buttons for me to memorize. I'm sure those of you who have been watching my playthrough of Framed Wings see how often I get the buttons mixed up. I still enjoy action-y games, but it takes a lot of practice. Maybe sometime I'll take the time to practice the demo a whole bunch and actually start getting good enough at it that I can play Monster Hunter Rise, because, yeah, it's definitely a game that I'm interested in playing, and if I enjoy it enough, I'll definitely get the DLC. And then there's Mario Party Superstars. I am very much interested in this. I really enjoy Mario Party. I'm one of the few people who actually enjoyed Mario Party 9. The problem is that I generally don't have anybody to play with. So definitely thankful that these newer entries have online play, but well, even then, I don't know necessarily that I'll have anybody to play with. For all I know, I'll wind up getting this, I'll play a couple of online matches, and then I'll never play it again, making it a waste of money. Which is definitely a shame. I really want to play this. It looks so fun! I don't care whether it's new boards or old boards, just as long as the boards are there. I'm looking at you, Top 100. I have no idea if this droid thing is an actual character or not, but I am sad that it dies because it is cute. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. These games definitely look like a lot of fun, but I have one Warriors game sitting unopened that I have had for over a year, so I'm not really willing to get this unless I know I'm actually going to be playing it. In case you're wondering, the Warriors game that I have sitting unopened is Fire Emblem Warriors. That one definitely looks like fun, but I'm just really bad at starting up games at any time. So, if I ever get around to playing Warrior games, and if I ever find myself hooked, I'll definitely pick up Hyrule Warriors here, because the zaniness, it just looks like a lot of fun. And speaking of fun, Chocobo GP. I kind of lost track of what games were announced during the Direct and completely forgot about this one. This one definitely looks fun. I enjoy kart racing from time to time. It's a shame that Nintendo hasn't released a new one in quite some time. Rather, they decided to port Mario Kart 8, and because Mario Kart 8 has done so well, they figured, okay, that's just going to be the one for Switch now. We don't have to make Mario Kart 9. So the mechanics here, by the way, the upgradable attacks, definitely reminds me a lot of Diddy Kong Racing. That was an interesting mechanic. I don't know which of these characters that I will play here. Who is Shiroma, by the way? Somebody from the newer Final Fantasies? Don't know. I'd probably just play as the Chocobo because it is freaking adorable. As an aside, I really need to play one of those Chocobo Mystery Dungeon games sometime. They looked adorable as well. And having played my first Mystery Dungeon game last year, that being Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX, yeah, Mystery Dungeon games are fun. so I'll definitely check out the Chocobo Mystery Dungeon game sometime. But now I'm talking about games that are not even in this direct, so let's move on. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Oh my goodness, this game looks freaking gorgeous. More importantly, it's a 3D Kirby game. Like, what the heck? Oh, been waiting for quite some time for a 3D Kirby game to happen. Now, I don't mind the 2D Kirby games. Kirby 64 is an awesome game, so is Return to Dreamland. I have not played the ones on 3DS, but they look like a lot of fun as well. Think of it as, starting from Return to Dreamland, Kirby games have kind of been, I don't know, inching into New Super Mario Bros. Territory. They've all looked the same. There's definitely been a little bit of different mechanics, particularly with Planet Robobot, but then you look at, what was the game on Switch? Star Allies. I haven't played that one, but I keep hearing people talking about how it is kind of underwhelming, and it's like, yeah, Kirby was getting kind of stale with his 2D formula, but this game here, it looks like they're really going to be trying with this one. Seeing that they has the copy mechanics also means that it's a full-fledged Kirby game and not some gimmick game like, hold on a sec. That feeling when you forget to close a chat program. Anyway, it's not a gimmick game like you would see as a side game on the 3DS entries. There was a 3D Kirby side game in those, I think. I forget what it was. Kirby 3D Blast or something? I don't know. But this is a full-fledged adventure, it looks like. Full mechanics. Sword in there. I saw the eyes rolling around and the spike ball using the boomerang to pick up some sort of power-up. What was that power-up, by the way? There it is, that gem there. So, probably some MacGuffin that you'll be collecting in each level. That begs into question, are these levels, are they open world, or is it going to be more linear, like Super Mario Galaxy and that sort of thing? Either way, I am super hyped for this. I'm almost certainly going to get it. It looks like it's going to be really good. Animal Crossing. When are you going to let me play as an animal? I enjoyed the first two games a lot. I played it on the GameCube, I played it on the original DS. After that, I decided I wouldn't jump into the series again for a while, because it was getting kind of samey. But, of course, New Leaf and especially New Horizons are different, but if they really want to grab me back, they need to let me play as an animal. I'm kind of tired of being the only human in an animal village. I'm kind of jealous of everybody. In fact, hey, Nintendo, if you really want to attract a whole bunch of new fans, definitely let us play as an animal. You will attract all the furries. As if Nintendo is even watching this. Mario Golf Super Rush. I heard that it wasn't perfect, but it still looks like a lot of fun. Definitely would be interested in playing it. It would actually be my first Mario Golf game. I haven't played any of the others. I'm more of a Mario Tennis fan, but this definitely looks like a lot of fun. Like, they put a lot more effort into this than Mario Tennis Switch. I will definitely say that. Like, this mode here, rushing to different holes, I don't know how good I'd be at it, because doesn't golf, like, require some concentration in getting your aim right and figuring out your swing? I don't know that it would do really good at it, but it definitely looks like a lot of fun. Dying Light. I have no interest in this, but I wanted to bring it up anyway because it's the cloud version. Meaning, if you buy the game, you're not buying to own it, you're buying it to stream it to your Switch, and you're only able to play it so long as the servers are up. Which is a double-edged sword of badness, because not only does that mean you won't be able to play the game if the servers are down for the day because of some hiccup, but as soon as they're done letting you play the game, they'll shut down the servers completely, and you'll never be able to play the game again. And I know that there's also the situation with Nintendo Switch Online and being able to play those games, but I feel like with those at least, it's more like you're renting to play the games rather than pretending to own it. Like, rental I can understand. Rental I get. I used to rent rent games a lot as a kid. I almost said rent kids. You do not rent kids. Please do not rent kids. Besides that, at least the Nintendo Switch Online, NES, SNES games, whatever, at least those are on your system, and you can still play them even if the servers are down. All I have to say about this is, of course they're calling it Triangle Strategy. I think they could have come up with a better name. I mean, at least with Octopath Traveler, that is an interesting name, but Triangle Strategy? Really? It's like if somebody made an RPG and they called the game turn-based. Nintendo, you've already shown enough of this game. And then comes Nintendo Switch Online. New content, new membership plan. I kind of figured that was going to happen eventually. If they were going to be adding games to the service, they were not going to be keeping it $20 a year. They're going to add some new plan where you pay more, which is understandable. I mean, $20 for all those NES and Super NES games is already a really great deal. I mean, sure, there's a lot of fluff titles in there, like Kablooey, but come on, the entire DKC trilogy, Super Mario World, Super Mario Bros. 1 through 3, Kirby's Adventure, Zelda. I know you guys are waiting for games like Earthbound and Super Mario RPG, but there's already an amazing selection of games on the service for just $20 a year. But let's talk about this selection of games here. This is a really solid selection of Nintendo 64 games that is being added. Mario 64, Mario Kart, Star Fox, Yoshi's Story, Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Winback? Well, they had to throw in one odd choice. Mario Tennis, I'm definitely going to be playing that. Dr. Mario 64, this is probably the definitive version of Dr. Mario 64 right here. And that game over there on the right, Sin and Punishment, originally a game that originally only released in Japan, eventually got released for the Wii Virtual Console in America. That was the first time it got released in English. Nice to see that it's coming back. It's some sort of shooting game. Definitely not a bad game either, but this selection, they're really hitting it strong. But then again, they kind of have to. Nintendo 64's library was basically right here, along with some games from Rare. The third-party support was kind of meh. It was all about that selection of first-party games and Rare games. And speaking of Rare games, blink and you miss it. Seriously, all those Nintendo 64 games to start, and then they're promising all these games here is, well, actually kind of impressive. Not only is this another selection of really good games, including Banjo-Kazooie, who saw that coming, but the fact that they actually promised all these good games, they haven't really done that with NES and SNES games. They kind of just drop them by surprise, and you don't really know what you're getting. And I mean, you really don't know what you're getting. And by the way, not only is Banjo-Kazooie in here, which is my favorite game of all time, I did a Let's Play of it a few years ago, definitely check it out sometime, I'm putting a card up there in the corner, but Paper Mario is also in here, and that is definitely of interest, because Paper Mario has kind of gone downhill ever since Sticker Star. Well, not entirely. It dropped to rock bottom with Sticker Star, and then has gone uphill. But it hasn't quite returned to what made the original games great, with all the different characters and the badge system. And there is this huge divide among fans of the newer games and of the original games. A divide that Nintendo has created by refusing to return to the formula that made people fall in love with Paper Mario to begin with. Fans of the newer games are just completely tired of hearing the old fans constantly complain that Nintendo isn't making it like the original games. And if you enjoy the new games, that's fine. There's definitely some merits to the new games, especially the humor. But if you haven't tried Paper Mario 1 or the Thousand Year Door, You should definitely check them out and see why us older fans are wishing that Nintendo would return to this old formula so much. And in fact, now you have the perfect opportunity with Paper Mario here eventually coming to Nintendo Switch Online service. I almost forgot that it wasn't there yet. I wonder when it is coming to the service. Well, when it does come to the service, definitely check it out, because this is a really charming Paper Mario game, and not only is it charming, but it is also, well, really good. The badge system is really robust. I had a lot of fun experimenting with the badge system. It is so robust that you can play the game differently every time. But, let us not forget that Sega Genesis games are coming to the Nintendo Switch Online service, and it's like, what? Okay, we'll come back to this excitement in a moment. First off, I'm a little disappointed that the rumors of Game Boy coming to the service were not true. I love the Game Boy. It is my favorite system of all time. You know how I said that Nintendo 64 was known for its first-party titles? It's kind of the same with the Game Boy, except with the Game Boy, the third-party library was actually really good, but it was also really ignored. You know how Nintendo keeps putting these obscure Super Nintendo games and Nintendo games on their service that nobody cares about? The Game Boy would be perfect for that. There's so many obscure titles that are actually really good, but get ignored because they're not Mario or Pokemon. Well, maybe eventually Nintendo will add Game Boy to the service, and when they do, I'm gonna stream all of them. But back to Genesis games being on the service, this is not only a surprise, but it's also a little bit confusing. Because I know that Sega has already been selling some of these on the Nintendo eShop as the Sega Ages games. Some of these, not all of these though. Like Castlevania Bloodlines, that's not a Sega game, that is a Konami game. One that I think is already in some sort of collection, but seeing it here, yeah, I'm definitely interested. I am definitely a Castlevania fan. Not like a huge, outspoken fan, but I definitely enjoy the games a lot. And I've never actually played Castlevania Bloodlines, so yeah, I'm definitely going to be signing up just for this alone. All those Nintendo 64 games, definitely a good selection, but I kinda still already own most of them. But I'll definitely be checking out Castlevania Bloodlines. I see Sonic 2 is in there. That's my favorite Sonic game. I hear Gunstar Heroes is really good. But we really need to talk about Phantasy Star 4. If you like JRPGs, Phantasy Star 4 is the best one on the Sega Genesis. I played it for the first time a few years ago, really enjoyed it. But definitely check that game out, and I also recommend having a spell guide on hand, because the spells in this game are named really weird and you have no idea what spell does what, so having a guide for that is definitely helpful. I also see Shining Force in there. I let's played that years ago. It is a tactical RPG and a pretty decent one, so if you like tactical RPGs, I can also recommend it. And finally, can we just talk about how there is a Sega Genesis controller being sold for a Nintendo console? Considering the rivalry between Sega and Nintendo back in the Genesis days, that is hilarious. Castlevania Advance Collection. Yes, please. I said I was a fan of Castlevania. I would definitely probably get this whenever I have the time to get it. I will say though, one of those games is not an advanced game. It's Dracula X on the Super Nintendo, which is the poor man's version of Rondo of Blood, which is my favorite Castlevania. Seriously, what an odd choice. Ah, well, the other games are going to be really good though. I haven't played any of the Game Boy Advance Castlevania games, so they're gonna be, I'm looking forward to playing them at some point. And coming out of left field, Actraiser Rennaisance. Where did that come from? I already said it came out of left field. So Actraiser is a game that originally released on the Super Nintendo. A little bit of a cult classic. Kind of a forgotten game though. Or so I thought. Because here it is with a full HD remake. And while it's not really a game that interests me, it is still really cool to see this game. Deltarune Chapter 2. I haven't really played Chapter 1 yet. I'm waiting until all the chapters are released. I assume that there's going to be more than 2 chapters. I have played Undertale. That is a game that I streamed some years ago. Really enjoyed that playthrough. So I'll probably get around to playing Deltarune at some point. Again, though, I want to wait until the entirety of it is done. Oh boy. And then we come to this. The Super Mario Brothers movie. Oh gosh, how much do I want to say about this? First off, being made by Illumination, okay, fine. It's a kids movie. Illumination, I know some people don't like them, but I'll be honest, I actually kind of do. Like, I definitely enjoy Despicable Me 1 and 2. I have not seen the Minions. I don't think this Mario movie is going to be a Minions movie. Although you can almost certainly bet that it's going to have Minions characters in it. I mean, not like the actual Minions, but they'll probably fit in something. I'm not too concerned, though. Honestly, I actually think that Illumination is a perfect fit for making a Mario movie. Especially as long as Mr. Miyamoto here is keeping an eye on the movie. He won't let them ruin it. With that said, what the heck? So, we apparently got some celebrities playing this, and also Mario is going to be talking a lot? That's actually a little bit disappointing. A part of me was hoping that the movie would play out kind of like the cutscenes in Luigi's Mansion, where you have some talking characters, sure, but Luigi was mostly silent and was kind of a reactionary character. It would have been kind of actually really interesting if Mario and Luigi were just kind of miming throughout most of the movie, being mostly silent protagonists. I will say, though, Jack Black as Bowser, that is amusing, and I expect awesomeness from that alone. The other actors, I don't really know who they are. Jack Black is the only name I recognize, so that's going to be interesting. But the fact that Mario is going to be talking a lot, that has me dubious. I don't even know what he's going to be sounding like, considering Charles Martinet is not actually going to be playing as Mario. Rather, he's going to be as a cameo. Also, the fact that they are making a big deal here about Keegan-Michael Key being Toad. How much of a role is Toad going to have in this movie? I'm not concerned about that, I'm just really curious. Apparently Toad's going to have some comedic moments though. Also Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Actually, that is another celebrity I am aware of. I wonder if Donkey Kong's going to have a big role. Well, probably not, considering they didn't say he was going to have a big role. Although the fact that Cranky Kong is also going to be in the movie is definitely curious. However, something that I did not catch when I was reacting to this stream is Sebastian Maniscalco, whatever he is, whoever he is, never heard of him. But I have heard of Spike, Foreman Spike. He was basically kind of an antagonist in the NES game called Wrecking Crew. That is basically an NES game where Mario was knocking down walls while avoiding giant eggplants. A pretty interesting puzzle game, also a really difficult one. 99 levels, I've never been able to beat them all. But the fact that they're actually bringing back such an obscure character for this movie is really interesting. I am very interested in seeing this, just for this character alone. Granted, I'm sure he's just a minor role. Bowser's probably going to be the big bad. I'm going to speculate here. The movie's gonna start out, Mario is working for a construction company just like he did in Donkey Kong. Foreman Spike is probably like his boss or rival or something. Mario's gonna have to deal with Donkey Kong at some point. But if Mario's gonna be working construction, Pauline had better be in there somewhere. Nintendo's brought her back in Mario Odyssey. Surely they'll give her some love in this movie, right? Actually, what I would love to happen is that the movie starts in Brooklyn, and then Mario and Luigi get transported to the Mushroom Kingdom. Also, on a related note, I heard that the movie is being written by the same people who write Teen Titans Go. I know that sounds like awful news, but here's the thing. I honestly feel that Teen Titans Go gets so much hate in large part because it is a complete departure from the previous cartoon. Fans of the previous Teen Titans cartoon were hoping for a Teen Titans for teens, and instead they got Teen Titans for 6-year-olds. Had the previous Teen Titans cartoon not existed, I don't think Teen Titans Go would have received nearly as much hate as it does. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there were actually more fans for it, because it's honestly not that bad of a cartoon. It's harmless at worst. So as long as the climax of the movie doesn't involve Bowser saying waffles 100 times, I really don't think the Teen Titans connection is really going to cause any harm to the movie. Splatoon 3 definitely looks interesting. I had a lot of fun with Splatoon 1. I didn't really play Splatoon 2 because it looked like more of the same, but it looks like they're definitely doing a little bit more with this one, particularly with the story mode. It looks really good. I might get it for the story mode alone. I mean, sure, we don't actually get to see what's actually going on in story mode. They don't show any gameplay, but it still looks interesting. And then we had Bayonetta 3. I had no idea what I was looking at, aside from Platinum Games, something from them. I was thinking maybe original game, or maybe a sequel to Astral Chain. I have no idea what this character is supposed to be, but I heard maybe it's a character from Astral Chain. But then, of course, comes... I assume her name is actually Bayonetta. And now we finally get to see Bayonetta 3. I have not played any of the Bayonetta games, but they look crazy good. I don't know that I'll necessarily play this one either, but it definitely looked like fun. And yes, you are fashionably late. What kept you? Some of us were beginning to think that you wouldn't come. And then doing this weird dance in order to summon some giant creature for a kaiju battle. We'll definitely say that looks interesting. And they focused on it a lot during this trailer here, so I'm assuming it's going to be a major component of the game. I would say it definitely looks fun, though it also looks a little bit awkward, trying to control your giant monster while from such a low camera angle. Mind you, it's definitely fitting since you're playing as Bayonetta, who is controlling these monsters. I will say I'm definitely interested in playing as a giant spider. Hopefully that is not a one-scenario, one-and-done deal, and I get to summon the spider in other levels as well. And I have no idea what's going on here. Are you surfing on buildings? What? And of course, the final question. Who is this character here? I heard a little speculation, like maybe it's Dante, but I don't think this is going to be Bayonetta 3, also featuring Dante from Devil May Cry. And that is all of my thoughts on this Direct. Overall, I was entertained throughout most of it. There were a few games that I had no interest in all, but even the games that I'm probably not going to get, like Bayonetta 3, still look really interesting, and I was overall entertained. I definitely give this Nintendo Direct a B. And speaking of entertained, I hope you have enjoyed this, I don't know, day after reaction, I guess? I don't know what I'll call this video. But maybe in the future, I'll do videos like this from now on, instead of posting my reaction videos. I mean, when it comes to live Nintendo Directs, I'll still do live streams, because those are still fun, especially with people in the chat. But I really don't know that it's worth posting those live reactions after the fact. This might be a better idea, doing a post-live reaction commentary thoughts video. With that said, if you have enjoyed my content, oh boy, do I make plenty of it. Over at Twitch, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Currently, I am streaming an indie open-world RPG called Heroines of Swords and Spells. It is a really good game. Kind of funny, too. It definitely had me laughing at a bunch of points. Right now, I am already beating the main campaign, and I am currently going through the DLC, where I get to play as a team of goblins. Meanwhile, here at YouTube, I am currently playing a game called Framed Wings. It is another indie game, this time an action RPG. Also a really good game. I'm enjoying it a lot, and in fact, it's my second time playing it, so that should tell you how much I am enjoying it, that I am willing to play it a second time. It's definitely worth checking out. It's got some Zelda-type dungeons here and there. It's not like full of them, but there's a few of them in there. Some fun boss fights, and also a lot of magic spells. Some of them are really good. And I also have many, many years of older content for those of you who are interested. Like I already said that I did Banjo-Kazooie, Paper Mario, Phantasy Star 4, Shining Force. Starting next week, I'm going to be reposting an older playthrough of mine. I did a playthrough of Final Fantasy V a few years ago. I streamed it at Twitch and posted it at YouTube. Completely unedited, 2-hour streams whole. But I had a lot of fun with that playthrough. It was for the 4-Job Fiesta, which is a challenge run where you only do 4 of the available job classes, and the job classes you play as are chosen at random. I did this run for a charity event called Child's Play, which is a charity that provides toys and games to sick children in hospitals. Because being sick in the hospital is sucky enough when you don't have any way to... something to distract the kids from being sick, because being sick on its own sucks. But I had a ton of fun with my Final Fantasy V playthrough. It is one of my favorite playthroughs I've ever done, which is why I've decided to go back to it and give it some proper editing starting next week. With that said, I'm pretty sure that just about covers everything of importance, so I will end this by saying thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.